We'd like to adjourn the Board of Education in closed session at 6:55 and reconvene the regular Board of Education open session at 7:04. I'd like to ask the Clifton Middle School to come up and lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, Board of Education, District Administration, and Monrovia community. It is my honor as principal of Clifton to be here tonight with some extraordinary students, and I'm going to turn it over to them to lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. I would like to introduce Brooklyn Cumes, Natalia Vargas, Natalie Nash, and Jonathan Henriquez.
Hey.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hi, my name is Natalie.
And I'm Brooklyn.
And we are here to discuss a program called Reading Buddies that our school, Clifton, and the Renaissance Leadership Program puts on.
Reading Buddies is a chance for us to spend time with Miss Balkus's special ed class.
We want them to know that they are just as important as anyone else on our school campus.
However, the title Reading Buddies doesn't justify to what we do.
We help recycle with them, play games, help with the gardens they plant, and do fun crafts.
We cook, play music, and read with them.
Through our program, we have gotten to know these students very well and have come to regard them as close friends.
Something we have always known, but they continue to prove to us time and time again, is that they are just like us.
They get excited, frustrated,
and they go through the same struggles of middle school we do.
These students are so amazing, and we are so honored to be here in celebration of them. Thank you.
And I would just like to add that Clifton is very, very proud to have a full special education inclusion program. Kids, don't go anywhere. You're coming up here for a picture. Come back. And there are two fabulous teachers at the helm of all of this, and one of them is here tonight. Can I have Jeanette Bacchus wave her hand? Jeanette Bacchus. And teacher Danny Ray, who could not be here tonight because of his daughter's grueling soccer schedule. But once again, the two of you that do a wonderful job, thank you for all you do. And you amazing students, thank you for what you do. And now it's time to get, are they coming up front for a picture? Picture time. Right in the middle of the room.
Oh, in the middle.
I'll take you. Give me your camera.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we move forward, I'm certain you are impressed with the pictures. So I'm going to appeal to Dr. Kaiser to articulate what's happening on the walls, since I know you're excited, and you'll be surprised who made the pictures. Thank you, Dr. Kaiser.
The paintings that you're seeing on the walls tonight were all painted by our 4th and 5th grade students from our elementary schools. And I want to explain to you a little bit about how the program works. How many of you have driven around town and you've seen Pinky and Blue Boy and some of the master paintings on our elementary schools? They're quite phenomenal. Those were also painted by our 4th and 5th grade students in our schools. We have an artist in residence who comes and works with our students and has been working with them for the last 5 years, where she comes and she helps the students first sketch every line they see in the painting. They project it onto a blank surface, which are these canvases in this case. And then they start with primary colors and they blend the colors together to create the colors that they see in the master painting, and they apply them just step by step, and they keep creating shades until they come up with a rendition of one of the master paintings. Many of these paintings are hanging in the Huntington Library. So as a bonus, our children get on a bus and they get to go to the Huntington Library to see the master painting that they created the rendition of. And so we have been so fortunate in this community to be able to bring art to life for our youngsters, and for them to learn not only about how to apply the paint and create beautiful art, but also for them to learn the history of the art, the history of the painter, and some real information that is in the art history world. So that's what you're seeing tonight.
I would also like to encourage, if you haven't been to all 5 of our elementary schools, physically driven by them, you're missing some great artwork. Drive by them and see what the 4th and 5th grade students have done on the wall for public art too. It's wonderful.
Thank you, Dr. Kaiser. And we're at our roll call. As you can see, one is absent in the likes of Board Member Hammond, who is currently in Fredericksburg, Texas, taking the day off from his bike ride. Mr. Hammond is halfway through. That deserves an applause. But he's halfway through his, adventure. And it would behoove me not to congratulate him and pray for him too. But Rob is halfway. His next stop is Austin. Then he goes to Houston. Then he goes to Louisiana. And then finally he'll land in Florida. And so I encourage you, for those who have not had the opportunity, like Coach Hart there, to give, $10,000, Coach? But if you haven't had the opportunity, like Mr. Russell there, sitting in the back there, it would behoove you not to visit irideforyou.com. irideforyou.com, and solicit your contributions on behalf of the PTA. With that said, report on the closed session held today. We had a few items discussed, and we will conclude. With decisions made during our board meeting. We're at item E, the order of business, the board agenda discussion, presentation items, which include input from representatives of agendized matters may be moved up in the agenda. Dr. Terosian, do we have such?
President Williams will be moving action item 10 to follow public comments.
So noted. Item E2, approve the minutes of the regular Board of Education from March 28. Do I entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second. Ms. Huff?
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Ms. Huff. Item F, recognition and communications. Dr. Terosian.
Thank you, President Williams. Members of the board, I'd like to recognize Oscar Aguia, and maybe he'll come to the podium and I'll meet him up there.
All right, Oscar. You're sharp too, Oscar.
Oscar Aguirre is a student at Santa Fe Middle School, and last Tuesday during our Founders Day celebration, we had our reflections program from across the district, some of the area winners and notable presentations, and Oscar's was among them. Unfortunately, it couldn't be shown because it was on a flash drive and all we had were easels. So he's allowed us to show the brief presentation, but despite his disappointment, what Oscar offered to do was just take pictures of all the other artwork in the room so that we might show it at a later time, which we did. We had a Monrovia Chamber of Commerce mixer the following evening here, and each of those pictures that Oscar took for us was shown. So giving selflessly of himself despite his disappointment. Oscar, thank you for your contributions and for your initiative. And I'd like to point everybody's attention to the do you want to talk about the video?
I just want to say one thing real quick.
Excuse me, a moment from our artist.
So, all the pictures in the video that I'm not in, I took all the pictures. Yeah.
And you'll understand why he didn't take the pictures he is in. As the board shakes Oscar's hand, who certainly embraced the theme of within his reach with the PTA Reflections theme, Dr. Zamaripa noted that he took pictures of every Santa Fe staff member for one of their projects on campus, and he really is making a difference.
Mom, Dad, you guys want to come up? And Grandpa. This is big stuff. Grandpa? Sister? No?
It's on video.
Family together. There you go. Oscar, I remember meeting you along with Board Member Hammond. Man, you're awesome. You really are. You are the epitome of what we have in our school district. And yes, you will. You really will. So I just want to say that in front of your parents, embarrass you. I remember you, dude. Very articulate. You took us to our class. You know, you were just, I got to share this with Rob. So congratulations again. Item F2, Dr. Terosian.
We are fortunate today to have the Monrovia High School suit bots back from a world championship competition, and I'd like to invite Mr. Dobson. Mr. Dobson, our teacher slash coach slash inspiration award winner of all time, will help with the introduction of the team and maybe tell us a little bit about the competition.
Well, welcome. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you, board, for inviting us here. Thank you, community. First of all, I want to say we get at the high school a tremendous amount of support from the high school. Kirk, thank you very much for the support that you give us. We get support from the board. You guys have been great. You've been coming to our matches. We've been really excited to see you there. Our superintendent, thank you for coming to our matches. We get a lot of support from the community. We had to raise a tremendous amount of money this year in order to go to the World Championships, and it just came. It was great. The kids worked very hard to do that, but it was the support from the community. We have great parents. You know, so much of our program, we have 80 kids in our program. It's an after-school program made up of 6 teams. The Suit Bots had a special year this year. They had a special year last year. Really great group of kids, but they're just part of a bigger program, and they're great representatives of it. But the parents have been a tremendous amount of help. Some of them are here. Some of them are not here. The Suit Bots, each of our teams has an adult mentor that helps us out. And Mr. Corey Porter, who couldn't make it here, is the adult mentor for the Suit Bots. And I'm just the program coordinator. I just watch great things happen. But I would like to introduce a senior and a freshman, just to kind of give you an idea of the span of the program. Eli Williams is our senior. He's the team captain. And Eli, I don't know what you're going to say, but say something.
Yeah, so I'm a senior at Monrovia High School, and I've been the team captain for the past 2 years on the Suit Bots. Both years we were lucky enough to compete at the World Championships in Houston, and that's what we just came back from. We were there all last week. We didn't do as well as we'd like to, but we had a really great time, and we still were competitive on the field, and I'd love for them to be able to carry on the legacy and compete again next year.
Thank you. And we have a freshman, Emilio. Why don't you go ahead and say something, Emilio? Tell us about the future.
Well, I'm a freshman coming in from Santa Fe. Yeah, I was in the robotics team there, and I know several great kids in Santa Fe, and there are going to be several great kids from Clifton coming in, and we're going to be recruiting some of them, and hopefully we can continue the legacy of being a great team with these new kids, and I don't know what else. Yeah. All right, we had a great year.
Thank you, Emilio. So am I handing out awards? Or?
If you could assist in distributing the awards and now having our students come forward. Did you bring a special guest? I'm seeing...
Oh, you know, it's not every day that you guys get to see a world-class robot. Unfortunately, it's not operational right now, but why don't you guys go ahead and hold it up so folks can at least see it. It had a long trip from Houston. It was thrown in the back of an airplane in a box. There you go. Samantha Childers, come on up. Chase. Nathan Nakamura, come on up. Emilio, come on up. It's a big team. How many are on your team? Ryan Ronderas, come on up. Kevin Santiago coming up.
Probably.
Eli Williams.
Oh.
And the other folks on the Supots, Hai Jung could not make it today. You know, AP tests are coming up. Kids are getting stressed out. Camille Tadeo, Jonah Simmons, Samuel Probst, Corey Porter, who's our adult mentor, tremendous help. His son was a Supot. Went through 4 years Supot and graduated 2 years ago. And Corey didn't graduate; he just stayed with us. And it's great. Paige Novikov, Alexander Feldman, and Brendan Cardosa. Congratulations. Good job. You can be standing over there. And then you. There you go. You want me in here?
Suit Box has put us on the map, so that's awesome. And thank you, Mr. McGinnis, for your leadership at the high school. And I just wondered, did anybody eating a barbecue here in Houston? Nope. Well, okay. All right. I'll leave that alone, Russell. Okay, F3, the Board of Education and the Chamber of Commerce would like to congratulate the following employees on being recipients of the Monrovia Unified School District Employee of the Month for the month of April. Dr. Jackson.
Yes, Board President Williams, members of the board, Dr. Tarosian, Cabinet, and the community. This evening, we are honored to celebrate and recognize our exceptional classified and certificated employees of the month from Monroe Elementary and, you hear, Dr. Z's? Santa Fe, for their commitment to our community, the district, and most importantly, our students. In recognition of their service, they will receive tokens of appreciation from the Board of Education, the Chamber of Commerce, and the Foothill Federal Credit Union. And I know Judy Scheffler and her husband are here this evening, and they are here each and every board meeting that we recognize our certificated and classified employees. So we're truly appreciative of you being here this evening. So Dr. Zimmerlipa, you're here. You look anxious, so come on to the podium.
I'm excited. I'm fired up, Dr. Jackson. Thank you so much. Good evening, Board of Education, President Williams, Cabinet, and Superintendent Tarosian. I am happy to be here tonight to honor the Santa Fe Computer Science Magnet School Certificated Employee of the Month, Miss Anna Hemingway. right over here by me. I'd like to tell you just a little bit about Anna. According to Ms. Hemingway's schedule, she's a 7th and 8th grade teacher of English language arts and our Read 180 program. However, she does much more than just this, and she does so with dignity and grace and kindness towards the students she serves. At the semester break, I gave Anna a schedule change which included taking on a class designed to support students who were struggling with their grades, a type of study skills class. Anna was nothing but supportive of this and has motivated these students to improve through hard work and making better decisions and choices around their schoolwork and their lives. In her classes, Anna is a very digitally advanced teacher operating multiple Google Classrooms for her students. Indeed, her youthful appearance reminds us that she is a digital native and a millennial. And in this too loud, fast-laned world, Anna is refreshingly a quiet soul. The good that she does for our students is done with modesty and a peaceful calm. Her classroom often reflects this calm as it serves as an oasis for students who reciprocate her peaceful manner. Anna is in the midst of finishing up what I am sure will be another beautiful yearbook for Santa Fe, an art form she has completed diligently for many years. Ms. Hemingway is a consummate team player who is trustworthy, loyal, kind, and hardworking. She is a great member of the awesome Cougar team. Please join me in recognizing Ms. Anna Hemingway as our Certificated Employee of the Month. Stay right here. We have a bag. Two certificates for you here as well. Beautiful. Stay right here because I'm going to have Joe come up too. And our classified employee of the month is Mrs. Jill Ramirez. Jill is one of those people who is the true backbone of our school. Not only is she a Monrovian, but she is at the beating heart's core of Santa Fe. Every morning she comes bounding onto campus and does not go first into the office or proceed to the lounge, but she heads for the kids. Hola, chiquitos, she yells out as she greets them with a big smile on her face. A talented educator, Jill adds so much value to the students she serves. Every day. She is their mentor and their guide, and in many cases, she is truly like a mother to her students. Gifted with much patience, she is able to get all students going so that they can achieve and grow. Recently, she came to talk to me about some students. What I enjoyed about our discussion was that she was so proactive in her ideas and her approach with each case. Indeed, some of the cases were difficult, but Jill was convinced that by working together, we could make things happen for all of these students. Her strong desire to attend to the needs of all learners because it is the right thing to do is evident in the excellent work she provides to our school every day. Please join me in recognizing a true blue Santa Fe Cougar, a hometown hero, Monrovia's own Jill Ramirez. And we're going to step aside and we're going to bring up Dr. Liliana Jarvis of the Monroe Roaring Lions.
So once a year, our schools are given the opportunity to recognize outstanding people who make a difference in our school communities. And this evening is Monroe's turn. And I am delighted to recognize two outstanding employees who make a difference every day in the lives of our families, our teachers, our students. I'd like to start by asking our certificated teacher of the year, Lorena Cabello, to come up here and join me. Lorena Cabello goes beyond the word outstanding each and every day. She is an invaluable member of our school community. She's a third grade dual immersion teacher and a member of our instructional leadership team. In third grade, Maestra Cabello teaches our kids to read and write, problem solve, communicate, and express themselves in 2 languages. It is easy to see how Maestra Cabello is a natural-born, intuitive teacher. Her colleagues can attest to how her students benefit from her daily dedication to our children, from her thoughtful, nurturing instruction and the strong academic foundation that she's building with our kids. When one walks into her classroom, one feels how vibrant she is, how alive she is when she teaches. Her love for teaching is evident and displayed throughout the students' artwork and projects, very proudly displayed in our main hallway. At Monroe, we all know that Maestra Cabello runs a very tight ship in her classroom, filled with only the highest expectations each and every day for each one of her learners. Lorena, on behalf of your colleagues, your passion goes without saying. Your enthusiasm is obvious and contagious, and it is a pleasure to work with you. Congratulations on behalf of the Monroe community. Now I'd like to recognize our office manager, our classified employee, Minerva Games. At Monroe, Miss Gamis is adored by our students, our families, and staff members. The students and families know Minerva for her friendly disposition, her ethic of care, and the families that she encounters know this very well while she does her job as office manager. Amongst the teachers, she is reliable, very detail-oriented, and is known for getting things done. As our office manager, Minerva plays a very critical role, not only with the clerical jobs that she performs, but she makes instruction possible. Minerva runs a very tight ship in the office, keeping the kids, the teachers, the parents, the campus supervisors, the custodians, the subs, and even the principal in check. She sees everything, knows everything, and has a solution to any problem that may come up. You are gifted in so many ways. It's evident to anyone who knows and works with her that Minerva believes wholeheartedly in the potential of each child. And the kids know this too. Our students look forward to encounters with Minerva in the morning, during recess, lunch, after school, because of her enthusiasm, her kind-hearted spirit, and her endless hugs in the morning. Minerva, you are deserving of this recognition. Thank you for making our school a wonderful place with your warmth, your charisma, your ethic of care, and all of that is impressive. Thank you so much for having my back and for working tirelessly. You are a rare gem, and our school is very fortunate to have you. Congratulations.
Dr. Travis and Dr. Z, can we take separate pictures so you can have your own photo in your own school?
I may have to borrow it.
Ladies and gentlemen, next we'll ask our superintendent to acknowledge our Axel Region Speaker Awards to these wonderful participants. Dr. Terosian, please.
Thank you, President Williams. We are truly blessed in this district to have so many, not just nominees, but awardees of the Association of California School Administrators, Region 15 Administrator Awards. Each year, AXA's Region 15 selects administrators who have distinguished themselves in various capacities. This year, we have quite a few who were awarded region honors. In the region, there are over 60 districts represented when selecting some of these regional winners. So I'm going to start with Mr. Courtney Glass, who is our AXA Region 15 Co-Administrator of the Year. Courtney has served as the Assistant Principal of Clifton for over 8 years, and he is superior both in his technical knowledge and his ability to create and sustain and maintain programs. And he is a strong voice within our district, and I am so thankful for him.
Who stays away from the camera.
Do.
We got you now.
Also selected among the individuals from over 60 districts for Region 15 was Tom McFadden, who's received our Aspiring Administrator of the Year award. This award represents the best and brightest of newer administrators. He's deserving of this recognition with his willingness to assist in any and all situations. And most notably in Tom's to-do list was persuading Congress to increase funding for our after-school program statewide. He boldly petitioned and advocated for these programs, and that has certainly benefited us in our district. Thank you. There you go. Our third regional winner is Lisa Minami Lin. Lisa has been selected as the Administrator of the Year Award winner for Student Support Services. She is a lifelong learner. She served as a teacher, a coach, an assistant principal, a principal, and is currently serving as the Director of Student Services in the Monrovia Unified School District. She is always curious, always student-centered, and always looking for ways to make things better for every student within the district. Student Support Services starts with Lisa Minami Lin. We also had some nominees within the regional award winners. The first is Dr. Jackson, nominated as HR Administrator of the Year. He has distinguished himself as an outstanding leader in the district. He is an invaluable member of our team, and he currently serves as the AXA State Chairperson of the Human Resources Committee and was recently chosen to serve on the Region 15 board. Good luck next time. Also nominated for middle grades Principal of the Year in Region 15 is Mrs. Jackson, Jennifer Jackson, for her accomplishments is a middle school principal. Anyone who has had any kind of time with her knows that she is caring, tenacious, and brilliant. She's been recognized by the National Renaissance Organization for her leadership in developing the whole child, has been a sought-after speaker on the importance of a well-rounded education, and has led Clifton to that highest of honors, a National Schools to Watch, under her leadership. Congratulations, Jen. Also nominated for Region 15 is our Chief Business Official, Connie Wu. Connie distinguishes herself with a fine accounting and planning skills. She is strategic, she aligns the district budget, and she serves as a representative of the AXA State CBO Committee, which is comprised of 23 individuals. She has a voice at the table in Sacramento, as well as in our local region, in bettering how schools are funded and financed. She is a lifelong learner and an extraordinary comrade here. Connie, thank you so much for all you do. But wait, there's more. We also have Flint Furtick, who is recognized. Flint Furtick is our Charter Leadership Award winner. Flint has been in the district since 2007, at which time he became the principal of Canyon Oaks and Mountain Park schools. At that time, neither school was accredited. Today, Canyon Oaks High School is a model continuation high school. Both schools have just passed their 6-year accreditation. He is also now the director of our world-class community adult school and has a strength in bringing teams together and envisioning new opportunities within the district. It is not uncommon to hear him say, "Got an idea." And each time that idea is realized into something really extraordinary. Congratulations on being the charter winner as our Administrator of the Year. This is for you, and I might have accidentally given yours, but you know.
Makes my wife's favorite color.
I am so glad.
I heard I got a Dodger ticket.
It has Lisa's name on it. Our final award is the highest award that the AXA's Region 15 offers each year, and it is the Robert Gray Service Award. Robert Gray is one of the founders of Region 15, and the honor is for those who are demonstrate lifelong commitment to education and to AXA, to service and to community. And I can think of no better person to be selected for this highest of honors within, again, these 60 districts than Dr. Sue Kaiser. Now, if that isn't a who's who of Monrovia Unified, I don't know what is. This is what makes us run.
You know, Dr. Terosian made some brilliant comments regarding what you saw here, and that should encourage you what type of representation we have here in our district with the likes of Dr. Kaiser, Dr. Jackson, Ms. Connie Wu, and all of those who were acknowledged, and that should be something that's really resonating. You know, that we are really blessed in this district to have so, shall I say, wonderful individuals leading our district. And so congratulations again on behalf of the board. It's just outstanding. Next, we'll have board reports, which there are none, and we will follow with our student board report.
Good evening, board and cabinet members. It is my pleasure to be here tonight to report on the achievements of our alternative schools. First, I'm happy to share that our trout release field trip to the Santa Fe Dam the week before we went on spring break was a success. Almost 90% of the fish survived the transition, and students learned how to fly fish at the lake. We had a motivational speaker to start the morning off and ended the excursion with the lunch and park. This past weekend, we enjoyed prom with MHS students at the Sherwood Country Club, a beautiful location nestled in the Santa Monica Mountains just south of the city of Thousand Oaks. Tomorrow, our junior class will embark on a field trip organized by our counseling staff to attend a college and career fair at Pasadena City College. Next week, we start our SBAC testing and are all geared up to score well. Our juniors have been taking enrichment courses this spring to prepare us for the state assessment. On behalf of Canyon Oaks and Mountain Park Schools, we thank you for all of your continued support. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from our superintendent.
I just want to take a moment to recognize and thank our team representing us at Community Feud, a competition sponsored by Monrovia Reads and the Monrovia Public Library Foundation, and one that supports adult literacy. It's the fourth annual event, and we were represented by administrators, classified members, and teachers. And thank you to our team captain, Charles Puvakin. I hear it was a great event. Sadly, we did not make it past the second round.
Did the city win? That's all that matters.
I don't want to discuss the shenanigans that might have occurred during the competition. Suffice it to say, we'll post our comments later.
Thank you, Dr. Terosian. Just a little history. We had a pie eating contest that allegedly someone else won. Thank you, sir. Can I say cheating? Okay. Okay. Mr. Gilliland said cheating. I concur. Give that man a microphone. All right, let's move forward. We're now at public comments. Of course, the Board of Education encourages public participation and invites you to share your views on school business. Please complete the Addressing the Board of Education form, if not already, and give it to Ms. Huff. In order to accomplish board business in a timely and efficient manner, the public comment session for items not on the agenda will not exceed 30 minutes. Ms. Huff, do we have any public comments for items not on the agenda?
Yes, President Williams, the first request to speak comes from David Hart.
Good evening. 30 minutes? Again, that's great. I love the extra time. Thank you, Board President Williams, Board, Cabinet, Dr. Tarosian. Just here to remind you, I know most of you have it on your calendar, tomorrow evening, the Santa Fe Computer Science and Performing Arts Magnet School will have its spring concert led by award-winning and Carnegie Hall performing Tony Ellis. We will have a pasta dinner at 5:30 to 7. Please come by for that, and then wonderful entertainment of not only our musicians, but our actors that are going to be doing Hairspray Junior coming up soon. So I just want to remind you of that and invite you to show up. And Terrence, I'll even buy your dinner.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Thanks
Thank you
for
so
the
much.
encouragement.
And congratulations to Flint Fertig. He's an awesome man. Thank you.
Ms. Huff, we have any others?
Yes, President Williams, the next request to speak comes from Dawn Neufeld.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you this evening. My name is Dawn Neufeld. I am a 17-year veteran English teacher at Temple City High School, a member of the Monrovia community, and a parent of a TKer in Monroe's amazing dual language immersion program. Last week, I received a call from the school counselor at Monroe about my daughter, Ellery, and a problem she was having with a child in her class. My heart sank as Mrs. Alvarenga told me how Ellery had treated this student, but my spirits gradually lifted as Mrs. Alvarenga explained how she had handled the situation. She spoke respectfully to my 5-year-old, listened to her frustrations and fears, and helped Ellery come up with some solutions that didn't involve physical harm. Mrs. Alvarenga then went on to explain how she was going to follow up with Ellery and told me she planned to have a restorative justice session, as much as 5-year-olds can understand what that is, with both children. I hung up from that conversation with a sense of relief that my child would be held accountable for her actions in a kind, respectful, and loving way. I am here tonight to speak with you about our elementary school counselors, to impress upon you why keeping them in place is so important. Children begin to develop their academic self-concept and feelings of competence and confidence during their elementary years. They are beginning to develop communication, decision-making, and life skills. They are also forming their character values. Elementary school counselors are so important because they set the foundation for developing healthy, competent, and confident learners. They help to create a safe and respectful learning environment by providing education, prevention, and intervention. They teach children social and emotional skills in response to issues that they may be facing. With an ever-increasing number of children expressing anxiety and an ever-increasing importance and quantity of district and state testing, counselors at the elementary level are needed now more than ever. Elementary school counselors provide many services, including but not limited to academic support, bullying prevention and awareness, character education, communication, problem solving, and conflict resolution skills, education on understanding self and others, and education on coping strategies and effective social skills. I'm not just here tonight with a request. I come with several possible solutions to this need, some more creative than others. And all of these ideas
might buy us one more year's time to figure out a more permanent solution if possible. My first idea is to find a little bit of extra money from several categorical funds and combine them together, which I know you already work really hard to do, and I appreciate that. Employ a grant writer to access funds for mental health specifically. Look at funds that could be allocated or renamed for mental or emotional health. Examine the district reserve. I know, you're scared right now. If it's a healthy reserve, could you drop it to the state 3% minimum requirement just for 1 year in order to keep the counselors? Development fees are for new programs only. Now that dual immersion has been implemented at 2 separate sites, and we are now understanding the demands the program requires of our students and the anxiety of meeting those demands for most students, could we create a new job title like dual language program counselor, specifically to be used for meeting the emotional, mental, and academic needs of kids learning a new language alongside rigorous curriculum? Since it's a new job description, it might be eligible for using development funds. Ask the Monrovia Schools Foundation to fund counselors, which they might already do. I'm not aware of if they do. And finally, my final idea is to redesignate LCAP funds and make mental health the goal for the next coming year. Thank you for considering these ideas for the 2018-2019 school year. Keeping our counselors is what's best for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Huff, do we have additional comments for items not on the agenda?
Yes, President Williams. The next request to speak comes from Celine Lockerbie. Yes.
Good evening. Five years ago, you saw my children's current 4th grade class coming. You could predict that there would be a dual 4th grade class with 35 students in it, and you deemed that completely acceptable. 8 years ago, you saw that the curriculum requirements at the state level were changing, and you deemed it completely acceptable to undertrain your staff for the new math and language arts curriculum. Your teachers have been asking for a central office for resources and help for the dual language program like they have in the LA Unified School District, and you have not implemented one. Parents have been begging for years for another dual campus in Monrovia, and you have instead chosen to add two TK classes to Monroe. Your thought exchange shows that parents and stakeholders in this district demand smaller class sizes and an end to combo classes, and you defer to attrition rates, claiming you can't commit to adding teachers because there probably will be attrition. I believe that the attrition is by design. You pack in the students in the lower K through 3 grades because you receive more money from the state and use that money for teachers in the lower grades. Parents with means or opportunity that foresee the overcrowding in the upper grades leave for schools with better class sizes. Those without the means or opportunities to leave are then likely stuck in overcrowded classrooms. And the district escapes having to hire upper grade teachers or culpability for inadequate staffing. It looks like you don't really need to add another upper grade teacher for Monroe next year because the class sizes will be smaller. They will be smaller because people are leaving the program. I have to pull my children out of this program that we have invested in and had faith in for the past 5 years. I don't want to leave this program. My children don't want to leave this school. We love the teachers and the staff at Monroe. But I can't continue to invest in something that has so significantly, scholastically, and emotionally damaged my children. I'm not the only one leaving this program, and there are plenty of parents that have considered enrolling in this program who, after researching the class sizes, have decided against it. I am disappointed in this board's handling of the dual immersion program based on my personal experience with your acceptance of overcrowded classrooms, teachers undertrained by the district in the new curriculums, the new rigorous state mandates, over-testing, absent funds and resources for dual teachers, poorly translated text materials, continued use of combo classes, and your refusal to understand that learning foreign language content requires more funding and better resources. Mr. Williams and Mr. Rich's board seats are up for election this November. Most of the parents and stakeholders in this district will be looking for a candidate that supports smaller class sizes, more funding and support for the dual program, and an end to combo classes. Thank you.
Ms. Huff, do we have any other comments for items not on the agenda?
Yes, President Williams. The next request to speak comes from Karina Garcia. Okay, thank you. So the next request is from Maya Rogers.
Good evening, board members. My name is Maya Lizzie Rogers, and I am in 3rd grade dual language at Monrovia Elementary. When I grew up, I want to be a nurse. I love my school because I have a really good teacher called Maestra Helen, and what I love doing is learning. My teacher sometimes needs to help me with my work because some things are hard for me. I have challenges writing in small lines. I also find it hard to sit crisscross applesauce for a long time and hold a clipboard and write. It's hard for me to write on my whiteboard. I have trouble writing straight on a piece of blank paper. I go to therapy to help my fingers and my body get stronger and to help my eyes work together. But because my class is small, I have just 20 students in my classroom. My teacher can help me more with my math and things I find hard. Sometimes I get frustrated doing schoolwork. I am worried about having a lot of kids in my class next year, like 30 or 35 kids. My teacher won't be able to help me as much. Also, some kids are mean to me. They call me names, they say rude things. My teacher tells them they can't be mean. She emails their parents, but if the class is big, she can't email parents. She might not have time to listen to me. Please, can you give us another teacher at Monroe next year? I don't want to move to another school if the class is that big. Thank you.
Ms. Huff, do we have any other comments for items not on the agenda?
Yes, President Williams. The next request to speak comes from Deepa Fernandez.
Good evening, board. Maya, I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you. She said it better than I could. And our need for an extra teacher is not trying to put extra stress on you to find funds that don't exist. Our need is real. Our children are the most important things to us. They are learning in 2 languages. And some are doing wonderfully, some are struggling. But with large class sizes, they will never reach their potential. And we at Monroe and at Monrovia Unified can be leaders in showing the absolute potential of this program. And we implore you to look hard. We don't want children to leave. It is painful to me that families are leaving, that I am spending my time touring not other schools in our district, but other districts that have dual language programs, because those of us in dual language programs, we can't pull our children out and put them at another school here when they're going into 4th grade. So we implore you to please find the funds to add an upper grade teacher, to make good on what Dr. Thorasian told us about funds for a portable classroom. We need to end the overcrowding at Monroe. Please help us do that.
Ms. Huff, do we have any additionals for items not on the agenda?
Yes, President Williams, the last request to speak comes from Amber Mitchell.
Good evening. I was here at the last board meeting, and I've been trying to attend the LPAC community meetings to understand better about the budgetary requirements and what is happening in our district as for the funding. When I was at the March 19th LPAC meeting, or LCAP meeting, I'm sorry, about community meeting, I asked a direct question, and I believe it was to Board Member Hammond. And I asked specifically why I was told that the LCAP money was not allowed to pay for personnel, but the first line item on the budget that was on the website was for $777,000 for instructional coaches. So I was asking directly how that was allowable. Last week, I was able to speak with Dr. Kaiser. She set up a phone interview or a phone conference with me, and she explained more in depth about what the requirements for the LCAP money was and cleared up a misinformation that was disseminated there. And so I wanted to make sure that publicly on the record that we informed the community about that information. So the LCAP money, it cannot be used to provide additional teachers, as I understand it, for classrooms to create the classroom sizes. But the supplemental and concentration fund can be used for personnel. So interventionists are paid from this fund, community liaisons are paid for this from this fund, the computer lab teacher, the art teacher who helps provide these beautiful works of arts, all of their salaries are paid from the LCAP fund. In theory, counselors can be paid with the LCAP money of this supplemental and concentration fund. So I am asking the board to consider redirecting some of the money that is being used for instructional coaches or instructional specialists, as you're going to call them next year, for elementary school counselors, on full-time elementary school counselors on every elementary campus in this district. As Ms. Neufeld said earlier, this is imperative to the well-being and the mental health of our elementary school kids, and I have had direct impact with my kids, with the school counselors in their education. I also just wanted to say, talk a little bit about the Thought Exchange program that you all sent out. I understand that there's a legal requirement for the LCAP money for a survey of the district, a climate survey or an interest survey that asks the public what its interests are. I received all the emails about the Thought Exchange survey. I also received a letter coming home in my kids' green folders every week. I think I may have even received one in the mail, but I'm not positive about that. In each of those letters, at no point did it state that the thoughts and opinions that were given back to you by the public were going to be used to decide where the funding was going to go. If that had been the case, I would have sat down and written out a thoughtful response of where I think the important parts of our district where the funds should be sent. The way that it was framed to us in all of those letters was that just please give us your thoughts and ideas of what we're doing well and what we're not doing well in our district. It didn't convey what you were the fact that you were using this information to base the funding off of for the next year. I know that the budget is due
in June for next year. I know that there is still time to mess around with it and find the funds and change things a little bit. I am imploring you to please find it in your budget to supply full-time counselors on every elementary school campus, and also to decrease our class sizes for 22 for K through 3 and 27 for 4th and 5th. It's important, it's imperative, and it's the best thing for our students. It's more important than anything else. Thank you.
Ms. Huff, do we have additional comments for items not on the agenda?
There are none.
Do we have comments for items on the open session agenda?
There are none.
All right, thank you. You can see by our program, we're at the consent agenda, which consists of 14 items. I stand corrected. Thank you, Mr. Goodland. Dr. Terosian did articulate moving up an item, the dual immersion, I-10. Dr. Terosian, please.
Thank you, President Williams. Members of the board, we'd like to present an overview of the Monroe Elementary School dual language program. And I'd like to invite Dr. Jarvis also up to the podium to assist in this presentation. The presentation will provide an overview of best practices in dual immersion programs and also provide some information about student achievement, the growth and work we've done in the last 8 years since its inception, some staffing and enrollment projections, as well as some of the options for next year, finally, with a recommendation of what next year will look like. Really, the most important thing we've done for the dual immersion program is 2 years ago hire Dr. Lily Jarvis to help lead the program and to invest. And as well as to invest in a committee that would serve as a task force and identify what are best practices within a dual language program and how to make sure that the dual language programs that we have district-wide, from the Spanish program at Monroe and Clifton to the Mandarin program at Plymouth and to the expansion and extension of the programs into the high school, are well articulated, because these are steps that were not necessarily well placed or paved in the past. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Jarvis about best practices.
Good evening again. Last week, Dr. Terosian presented to the teachers this presentation, and I assisted with some of the slides. And same week, we also presented to the Monroe community at a town hall meeting. And so it is my honor and pleasure to share with you some of the details that I shared with both my teachers and my parent community. Over the last school year, I've had the privilege of working with some very committed and talented parents and educators on an important project. It's called the Master Plan for our Dual Immersion Program. Our guiding mission is to ensure that the dual immersion students across our district, that's Monroe, Plymouth, Clifton, and the high school, attain biliteracy, value diversity, and develop cross-cultural competencies. Our purpose for meeting is to develop a comprehensive master plan that considers the guiding principles of dual immersion programs and create articulation between the middle school, the elementary, middle, and high school. Next, okay. These are the members who have collaborated over this school year. At Monroe Elementary School, we've got many members, parents, teachers, myself, and our instructional coach, thank you. And at Plymouth Elementary, we have a parent, 2 teachers, and the principal. At Clifton Middle School, we have 2 teachers and a parent, and representing the high school, it is a teacher and an assistant principal who oversees the master schedule for the high school and is our liaison between the high school and the topics of discussion at the task force meetings. We met, I listed the meeting dates, and today was our final meeting of the year. And today we finalized some actionable items that we are going to bring to you in a study session and then bring to you formally in the form of a master plan, hopefully in May or in June. So you'll get more details of our work. But in terms of the guiding principles that we use to move our agenda along and to establish next steps for our dual immersion programs, we looked at 7 guiding principles of effective dual immersion programs: the program structure, the curriculum, the instruction within the program, family and community, the assessment and accountability, support and resources, and staff quality and professional development. And if we look at some of the things that are the guiding principles at Monroe, for example, we can see that instruction and staff quality, program structure, there are some things at Monroe that are in place and have yielded some wonderful results in terms of achievement. And what we have here is a 2-year comparison data in the area of mathematics on the SBAC, comparing the performance of the dual immersion students to the students across the district. So the first 2 bar graphs go together, and that's the year 2016 and 17. The bar graph on the left represents the achievement of the dual immersion students at the 3rd grade level, 4th grade level, and then 5th grade level for the year 2016. And then the second set of bar graphs is same thing, but compared to the district average. And then the final 2 bar graphs are the dual immersion students, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, compared to the district average in the year 2017. So that's last academic year. So I'll give you a moment to look at the achievement trends. And what you can take away from that just visually is the dual immersion students are achieving at a higher rate than the district average in mathematics. This next set of bar graphs are a 2-year comparison, but in the area of English language arts. The SBAC is administered in English, and again, you have a similar comparison. The 2 bar graphs on the left, the cluster of bar graphs, are comparing the achievement of the dual immersion students in the year 2016 to the achievement of the district average, all the other elementary school students. And you can see again that the dual immersion students are achieving at a higher rate than the district average. And then again in 2017, you see it again, 3rd, 4th, and 5th dual immersion students compared to the students' achievement with the district average. At a recent coffee with the principal, actually the last one I had was March 26th, I asked the parents to interact with me, I often do this, to leave different wonderings, next steps, bright spots, and I wanted to highlight some of the comments that some of the parents made as they were leaving the coffee with the principal. I like the critical thinking and the collaboration happening with the Common Core state standards. Changes are hard, but change is necessary for growth. The types of questions and tests are excellent in creative critical thinking outside of the obvious, great for entrepreneur thinking. Great job with math, and we are providing our kids with more opportunities to compete well academically, and thank you. Okay. Now, Dr. Jackson.
Yes, I simply wanted to highlight the staffing formula is based on the revenue that we receive in the general fund and correlates to the number of students that are enrolled at each one of our sites, and the staffing formula is consistent at each one of our sites. And this also aligns with state guidelines. And so what I've done here, just a simple illustration, for grades TK through 3, they have a slightly different staffing ratio than grades 4 through 5. And so as you can see here, the number of students divided by the class ratio equals the number of teachers we would staff for grades TK through 3, in this case at Monroe. And you can see that example highlighted there. At Monroe, there are approximately a total of 452 students. Our class staffing ratio was 24.5 to 1, which equaled approximately 18.5 teachers, but we don't operate in half teachers, and so there are approximately 19 teachers allocated to grades TK through 3rd grade, and that's both for dual immersion and the English-only program. And so following suit then in the 4th and 5th grades, using a slightly different staffing ratio, that staffing ratio is 35 to 1. And so in this case, combining both your dual immersion and English only, and again, that's in line with state rules and regulations. Using that example of approximately 192 estimated at Monroe, divided by 35 to 1 ratio, it would equal about 5.5. And again, as I mentioned, we don't operate in halves, and therefore you see 6 teachers there. There was an interest when we did the community forum at Monroe as an inquiry as to what the number of teachers would be based on a ratio of 25 to 1. And so I've provided that demonstration as well, and what that cost to the district would incur. And so that's approximately $80,000, and that is total compensation, so that includes health and welfare benefits. Here, just a simple historical illustration of the growth of the program. Oops, what just happened? I wanted to be able to use the highlighter on here. Yeah. Either way, if you can, I'll simply draw your attention to the first cohort starting in 2010, where you see kinder number of students with 57. I want to draw your attention to, as they progress throughout the grade levels, from 1st grade in 2011 to 2012 to 2013, 2014. So at their culmination of their 5th grade year in 2015, you have approximately 40 students thereabouts. So you can see there is some attrition in the program of approximately 17 students. The same occurs in 2011 and 2012. As those students move from kinder to fifth grade, there are approximately 17 to 20 students departing the program through attrition. And so what I wanted to then highlight then is, if you move now laterally across, if you're just looking at that kinder line, and when you get to 2016, between 2015 and 2016, you see an increase in kinder from 68 going up to 82. In addition, in that 2016 year, you see TK was added to the program. And then as well in 2017, you have an additional TK class there and an exponential jump in the number of students that were enrolled in kinder. So overall, in those 2 years, just in the kinder grades, a total of 37 additional students, and then you combine that with TK, and I think you see the correlation of the impact in a program that has been growing. So I think the next question is, then, what have we done to try to manage this expansion? And Dr. Tarosian is going to highlight some of those.
2 years ago, we met with the staff and community at Monroe Elementary School, wondering what we should do with that program and how we could make it better, as well as how to manage the expansion and the growth. There were some ideas about trying to enhance the English-only TK to Monroe and just to move it over from Plymouth Elementary School. That did not prove to be feasible. Another idea was to, by screening students before enrolling in the dual immersion program, you would be sure that the students were able to manage both languages. We did not really pursue that any further either. The other idea was to bring the TK program in and establish a TK program in Spanish at Monroe. So rather than manage the expansion, we actually expanded that expansion by saying that those early years really do matter, and it would be best if our students could begin in the program in TK. So that is something that we not only pursued but made happen in the fall of 2016, a few months later. Also, at the same time, we were expanding to the middle school, and that is when our first cohort in the fall of 2016 promoted to middle school at Clifton. The next thing that came up was a need for intervention for students in the English-only program. We invested in that and identified a half-time intervention teacher in the fall of 2016. There was a request for some after-school support. This is something we are still exploring. There was a request to identify and select some better textbooks and Common Core aligned textbooks in Spanish. We piloted that in 2016 and adopted it for this year. Identifying more supplemental sources is something that we are continuing to do. We have not completed that task, neither do I ever think we will. We will always need supplemental resources. There were some additional requests to have more parent education opportunities, and we have invested in Latino literacy and PK programs, which have certainly helped in identifying, understanding, and navigating an educational system. And finally, there was a consideration to repurpose some of the existing space in order for the program to continue to grow. And so we started looking at some various options, none of which really proved to be viable, except for moving the special day class, which we did that year, and added another more classroom space. Last month, we began the same conversation. Let's talk about some of how to manage the growth. And we're provided with some ideas, including identifying some Spanish-speaking volunteers for the classrooms, reducing class size and eliminating combination classes. There was a concern about vertical articulation with the middle school. That is something actually that we began addressing under the leadership of Dr. Jarvis, and identifying some additional resources for the library, identifying some intervention for the dual immersion students from grades 2 through 5, and identifying some support and clarification for the reclassification of our English learners. Dr. Jarvis, again on campus, has begun working on some of these and will continue to do so. In terms of a facility, there are some options. The addition of portables is a possibility through redevelopment funds, should we need to do that. There was also a discussion about fundraising and whether or not the foundation could fundraise for us, or whether or not there should be, or if we had explored a parcel tax. We actually did explore a parcel tax, and these are the parcel taxes that have passed in the last couple of years. Parcel taxes, just as a reminder, can be used for staffing and not for facilities. We also did some comparisons with districts that had long-established dual immersion programs. They are Glendale, Pasadena, and Baldwin Park. and looked at their staffing, their ratios, and the opportunities that those districts offer, and trying to find perhaps better ways to staff or different ways to staff so that we can find additional opportunities for our students. And when looking through these, we notice that we do some things that the other districts do not. Certainly with an art teacher, certainly with teacher prep time, and certainly with the computer technology, the library tech, most districts did have. Again, there are different things that different schools do in order to meet the needs of students, and is in comparing with the other districts, we certainly are very competitive in those opportunities. We also looked at how we might start the program elsewhere, pros and cons for each. We discussed the dilution of resources and also really the time in order to get such a thing done for next year. Next. We could also look at slowly phasing out the English-only program, and that too would lose the neighborhood feel at Monroe, and we certainly want to, there was a compelling argument to be able to walk to school. Moving TK to another campus, as you see, displaces part of the current staff and really does make for two different drop-offs. The most viable option to us seemed to be to cap enrollment in the dual immersion program in kindergarten or TK, so that combination of classes, if we were to cap it, would maintain, we wouldn't need additional space, we would be able to maintain our current staff, we would remain a neighborhood school, and we would be able to retain our TK program on campus. So my recommendation to the board really is to cap enrollment to 3 classes of kindergarten students for next year. What I also propose doing is identifying priorities in terms of registration, as well as exploring next year the expansion of the program should it be necessary at one of the other schools within the district. Yeah. So this is my recommendation to the board, and we are looking at, we would like to begin that exploration and expansion and investigation next year. And so I am recommending to the board and am asking that for the board to approve the capping of the program next year in kindergarten.
Questions or comments?
So the recommendation we're being asked to move on tonight is just the capping of the kindergarten classes, which is within the existing policy and can be done without board action, but it also includes continue to look at expanding this program, but expanding it at other campuses instead of putting more load on Monroe, correct?
That is correct.
Those are the basis of this recommendation. Right, any other questions, comments?
Questions, comments? You talked about capping the number of classes, which we can do. Are you talking about capping the number of enrollment in those classes so it follows that cohort all the way through?
I'm not sure I understood.
Cap it to
cap the number of students.
30 or whatever. You cap the number of students in those classrooms.
We would remain within our staffing allocation the way we currently staff, and we are capping, we're not discussing class size, but program size.
And do you know of availability of space at other campuses for expansion?
There may be some campuses that are interested, and we would be doing that feasibility study as well.
Any comments, Mr. Wong? It seems like we're going to refer to Mr. Gilliland's comments without taking actions. You understand that?
Well, I don't see any reason to take a vote. I mean, there's two actions that are to be taken, and one is to focus the growth of the dual immersion program on another campus, because we're just maxed out at Monroe. And so we'll limit the number of students we accept into dual immersion at Monroe, which is also within existing policy. So I don't really see a need to vote for it if all the members here agree with that. The staffing ratios are going to be what the staffing ratios are. I mean, our legislature continues to fund schools in California at the 48th spot in the nation.
Yep.
There's only 2 states in this nation that give us less funding. You know, in 2002, this board worked very hard and just blood, sweat, tears, bone, everything went out the door because class size reduction went out, this went out, this went out. Last month, this state upped the amount of PERS money that we have to provide, the percentage that we have to provide. For a 10-year period here, the amount of money we put into the state retirement system will over double. It will be multi-millions of dollars that have to go into the state retirement system. And so the staffing level is going to work out with the budget. That's the only way we can work it out. And we're not going to say, oh, Monroe gets more teachers per student than any other school. Monroe's doing a fabulous job. And I wish this recommendation could say, add counselors, add teachers, add whatever. But if the people of Monrovia really want to be able to start adding positions to this district, they need to be in the legislator's office saying fully fund education. I encourage you to make your voice known to the legislatures that they need to fully fund it. California School Board Association has a big push on right now. Are your voices there? Our voices have been there and will continue to be there and will never quit being there because we're being shortchanged. Your children are being shortchanged. And this state needs to wake up and hire, we need to elect legislators that will fully fund education in California and get us out of the bottom back on top where they were. But in the meantime, we'll provide as many teachers, as many counselors, as many people to serve the people of this district as we can. But there again, insurance costs keep going up. The amount of money we have to put into special ed keeps going up exponentially. The money we have to put into retirement systems is going up exponentially. And while we would love to sit back here and say, yes, we can do that, we're looking for every dollar we can scrape together to make this program successful, because this board has been adamant. This is a very important program to us, both the one at Monroe and the one at Plymouth, the Mandarin program. And I would love to sit here and say, no, we're not going to cap this. We're going to let it grow as much as we can. But there's that physical limitation. And until we can put together the program to expand this somewhere else, I say we just go ahead and go with this. Now, if the board feels that we need to have a motion and vote on it, that's fine. But I think the administration has the authority to do what they're asking for here. And I'm pretty sure this whole board really supports what the direction they're going.
Yes, I don't think we need to entertain a motion. And Mr. Gilliland, thank you for saying what you said. We're all parents. We're all Monrovians, and trust me, we're fighting. We really are, sincerely. It would behoove you to think that we're not. I'm a parent who happens to be the president of the board, and I'm fighting for my kid. I'm fighting for your kids. You're my neighbors. We would not serve in this capacity if we did not care. I just want to be clear about that, not to respond to any comments or any tones, but Mr. Gilliland is right on. We care.
And just so you know and understand how much this board cares, this whole board went to Washington, D.C. and met with all the legislators that we could in D.C. to say, would you please fund special education at the rate the act that you passed for special ed says you will? You hold us to every letter of that act, and yet you won't fund it even to 50%. They fund it at about, what is it, 28% now?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I'm sorry.
12.
Thinking of the wrong program. They funded at 12%. We as a board took our time, took our effort, went and met with legislators in Washington, D.C. and urged them to please fund it at the level they said they would. And that's our commitment, and that's where we'll be. And programs like this, like the arts, are so important to our kids. And I think that this administration is right on with their recommendations tonight, and look forward to seeing how far we can go with it.
I concur. The trip to Washington was a humble experience for a parent who happens to have a special needs son. And so these gentlemen here allowed me to be the spokesperson because I was limited. I continue to live it. And my son, prayerfully, will walk across the stage in June. He's still a special need kid. My wife and I have been dealing with it. I know what I'm talking about. And we've had experiences with athletes on this board, band members, drill team members, and just for the record, Terrence Williams, Ed Gilliland, Brian Wong, Chris Rich, and Rob Hammond, we give a hoot. And that's his most, I don't mean to be condescending, but we really care. Ed is right on. We were up there fighting, and the audacity to give you 12% on something that you already have written that you're supposed to give us. I'm sitting here as a parent, angry, keeping my composure as an elected official to hear that. And so if you wish to go to your legislators, I appeal to you. So with that said, Mr. Gilliland, I concur that we do not need to entertain a motion. We need to move forward, let our professionals do what they're doing. And thank you, Dr. Jarvis, for your leadership capacity at Monroe, sincerely. Any other comments before we move forward?
Very briefly, even though we're not going to make a motion on this, I do think it's important for Dr. Therosian to know that we're giving her the direction to follow through on the plan that she has. Yeah. There's a number of options that's been outlined. None of them are necessarily easy choices, but I do think we need to start somewhere. Clearly, through all the conversations that they've had with staff, with parents, they feel that this is the best option at this particular point in time. It doesn't mean that this is going to be the only way we go or the only thing that we're going to pursue. But I think we need to start somewhere. And I do think it's important that administration and parents know where we stand on this, that we are keenly aware of the problems that parents are facing, that students are facing, that staff is facing. And it's not being ignored, it's not being forgotten or pushed to the back burner. But as you've heard, it's an extraordinarily complex problem that goes well beyond a particular class or a particular school, and that there is choices that need to be made that impact not only your students but all of the students. There is no I'm going to give one group more money because there is no extra money to give. To give money means somebody loses money. And you can couch that however you want, but the bottom line is that there's choices that have to be made. And the reason this is an important conversation that we're having right now is because we do have time to have these conversations. We do have time to sit down with sites, with administrators, with principals, with teachers to say, are you sure about your priorities? Are you sure about what we want to do in the direction we want to go in? The reason we have neighborhood schools is because different neighborhoods have different goals at times. There's nothing wrong with that. But that doesn't mean that every site wants the same thing. You know, it's our job to listen to all parties to try to reach the point that is going to maximize our resources to provide the best possible education that this district can. And sometimes we have to make some miserable choices. There's no other way to put it. It's oftentimes we have to pick between bad and worse, and it's not comfortable. It's not for a lack of caring, but unfortunately, there's just choices that have to be made. I have to thank some of the speakers who came up and can recognize that there's hard calls to make. They offered some solutions. Some I think are worth taking a look at. Some of them sound great, but might not be able to be feasible in a practical manner. But those type of conversations are what is helpful to drive the dialogue, because a lot of this, and I mentioned this the last time around, a lot of the problems I think we're having are communication. We have, I think at every level, there's a different understanding of what's going on and why. And I think that at times we take for granted that there are facts that are known by all. And so we don't explain them clearly. And I think as it moves down the food chain, as it gets passed from person to person, things are getting lost. I mean, they're just getting lost in translation. And so I think we need to do a better job as we are going through these budgets and making these choices and giving direction to Dr. Therosian to make the calls that she's outlined, is to explain why and explain what the choices were and what the choices are and what it means to say, I'm going to put a counselor in every school. What does that mean, really? I mean, those are the questions. Is there anybody here who really believes we don't want a counselor in every school, that we don't want a full-time nurse in every school, that we don't want class sizes that are significantly smaller than there are? Is there anybody who really believes that's our goal? Probably not. But there's a reason they're at where they're at. So as we have these conversations, don't be afraid to ask. All the decisions we make, I'm pretty confident that any of us who are sitting up here can explain to you, if you want to take the time, to understand why we made the call we made. We all live in the city. You probably run into us in the supermarkets, gas stations, wherever. We're open. We're open for questions. You can ask me whatever you want. Unfortunately, I'm not really sure.
My recommendation, Brian, would be that they ask their questions either in writing or verbally over the phone to the district, and we manage to take them up next board meeting, because we're kind of have our hands tied. This. Now wait a minute. This agenda item has to do with the recommendations that just came forward. We can have discussions on that. If your question relates to the size of the program and the way it's going to expand, we are legally allowed to discuss that. If it's not on the agenda tonight, the budget isn't on the agenda tonight, so unfortunately, we can't, we can kind of talk about it as it relates to this, but it's not agendized, so we have to be very careful about the law that says it has to be agendized to talk about it, for us to talk about it in public like this. But please, I echo what Brian said. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you so much for giving us your thoughts. That's so valuable to us as we look at this program and which way to go. And I know it's frustrating. I will say this to you guys, your child's best advocate is you. There's no question about that. And we would be lost without parental input. So please do. If you have a question that deals with dual immersion at Monrovia, Monroe, please ask it. That's all. That's my only sideboard that I would put on this. Please stay involved. Please talk to your legislators. Please talk to us. We want to make this program as good as we can. We're still in discussion, are we?
Well, we don't have an item up for vote. We don't have an action item. The board is giving a direction, the approval or acknowledgement, I should say, for the superintendent to follow the path that she outlined. That is the matter at hand. So for that particular item, I think the board first just needs to give an acknowledgement of the direction that the superintendent wants. So if there's any objection to that, the board should probably speak up. As far as going into some of the dual immersion items as a whole, I'm a little bit concerned about this. This is a business meeting, and as informal as it seems at times, we are compelled to follow the laws of the state, and I want to make sure that we don't create any additional problems. And I do want to make sure that people have an opportunity to think out exactly what they want. I don't want people to feel kind of rushed at this point in time, and I'm really would like to have a better forum to make sure that all the questions are fully addressed and a true discussion can occur in which people can understand the rationale behind the decisions. They may not agree with them, but I want people to understand why.
Can you set up a town hall?
I think that it is very appropriate for the staff to talk to the principals of all the schools for this exact same topic, which is to make sure that we're understanding what the concerns are for their particular sites. So I think that the superintendent and staff have heard very clearly. We need to have further discussions, more detailed discussions, and perhaps setting up, I just don't feel that this is the appropriate time or venue, but I do think that if we can publicize this a little bit better and perhaps have people think their questions out a little bit more, we can sit down whenever the appropriate staff can be there and take care of it. But I'm not going to make that particular time. I'm sure Dr. Jarvis and the superintendent can find a time.
Okay. With that said, we will move forward with a recommendation regarding the dual immersion program at Monroe Elementary School under the direction of Dr. Terosian and Dr. Jarvis. Moving to item H, a consent agenda, which consists of 14 items. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Ms. Huff. Moving to action item I1. Dr. Kaiser, will you lead us in the public review of recommended math textbooks?
Yes, I will. President Williams, Board, Dr. Terosian, tonight we have a recommendation that the board is requested to accept for public review prior to the adoption of the following math textbooks for grades 6 through 8, Math Links by the Center for Mathematics and Teaching Incorporated. And the rationale behind this is that the district math adoption team, which has been comprised of all of the middle school teachers and the administrators and our instructional coach Nancy Reyes, with representations from both middle schools, have been reviewing text and other materials that are available to use in various math courses. And the team recommends the text listed above for the use in the math instructional program. 3 years ago, the math teams selected a textbook to utilize that was a bridge material to get them to something that was a little bit more Common Core. And in doing the review, they found that this textbook is a little bit more Common Core in its application. The budget implication is that the cost of these materials are $115,000 over the course of 3 years. And this is a very similar price to what we were paying for the old course, the Glencoe Math. Tonight, I do have a couple of teachers here that are representative of the math team that would like to come and share with you the process that they used in coming to the decision to utilize the math links. We have Mrs. Marilyn Smith and Mrs. Becky Arredondo, and our illustrative middle school principals that were heavily involved in this.
They want their names.
And Courtney Glass.
Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Picture.
Good evening, Board of Education, District Administration, and Monrovia community. My name's Marilyn Smith, and I teach 6th grade math at Clifton. Introduce yourself.
I'm Becky Arredondo. I teach 6th and 7th grade math at Clifton also.
Okay, so the challenge of Common Core math hasn't been what to teach, because fractions are still fractions, but so much as how to teach it differently to produce a deeper understanding, leading to flexible problem solving and cross-disciplinary application. Our current textbook, Glencoe, is the first generation Common Core textbook. It covers the same math concepts, but not in a way that aids and encourages that deeper understanding that is the goal of Common Core.
Here it goes. Okay, Math Links is a second generation Common Core curriculum. It's designed to aid teachers and students in making the shift by integrating the new standards for math practices in daily lessons. These lessons include a balance of discovery and procedural learning, along with the ties to technology, enhanced activities, group projects, along with spiral review. In looking over and piloting a number of second-generation textbooks over the past 2 years, Math Links has presented a good balance of increased Common Core rigor with adequate support for students still struggling with the transition. The middle school math team, which consists of all the math teachers from both Clifton and Santa Fe, would like to have a more modern curriculum that actively supports us in fully implementing the new Common Core methodologies. Math Links looks to be a good option to accomplish this. Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
So with that, the Board of Education is requested to accept for public review prior to adoption the following math textbooks for grades 6 through 8, Math Links by the Center of Mathematics and Teaching.
So moved with the caveat that if no negative remarks are received, that it go on consent agenda when it's time comes.
Okay.
I'll second that with the caveat.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Ms. Huff. Item I2, professional service with Alliance of Schools for corporate insurance programs for property, liability, workers' compensation program. Ms. Wu?
Yes, good evening, President Williams, Board of Education, and Superintendent Dr. Solution and Cabinet. Currently, our district is a member of the San Gabriel Valley School District Self-Insurance Joint Park Authority with our neighbor district Baldwin Park, Azusa, and Glendora. The GPA decided to dissolve at the end of this school year, which is June 30th. The district issued a request for proposal to looking for a new GPA to join on February 23rd, Based on the response for our proposal, firm's experience, service provider, industrial reputation, and method of handling runoff cases, the ASCAPE, which is Alliance of School for Cooperative Insurance Program, offer overall the best program and service that meet our district needs. So the ASCAPE, founded in 1980, is a non-profit public agency. It provides insurance liability for the property works comp for over 140 public schools, which is K-12 schools, charter schools, and community colleges. So by board approval, this this action allows the district starting conversation and planning the transition and the data transfer, and we will bring the board resolution and the agreement for next board meeting for board approval.
Questions or comments?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Item I3, resolution recognizing April 23rd to the 27th as Administrative Professional Week and April 25th as Administrative Professional Day. Dr. Jackson, please.
Yes, Board President Williams, it's that time of the year where we are able to celebrate our respective members of the district. And in this case, the Board of Education is requested to adopt resolution number 1718-13, recognizing April 23rd through the 27th, 2018 as Administrative Professionals Week and Wednesday, April 25th, 2018 as Administrative Professionals Day.
Questions or comments?
I hope we had a good day today, and if any of the administrators want to celebrate it, come back to the Dr. Therosian's office. We'll give you a bottle of water to celebrate it. I was so moved.
Second, Happy Administrators Day.
Yeah.
A little late.
A little late.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Dr. Jackson, will you lead us in the resolution in honor of Monrovia Staff Appreciation Day, Day of the Teacher, and Classified School Employee Week, rather?
Yes, Board President Williams. The Board of Education is requested to adopt a resolution declaring May 9th, 2018 as Monrovia Unified School District Staff Appreciation Day, May 8th, 2018 as National Day of the Teacher, and declaring the week of May 21st through the 25th, 2018 as Classified School Employee Week, to express gratitude and appreciation to employees for their service to the Monrovia Unified School District and the youth of our community.
Questions or comments from Dr. Jackson, forgive me.
Are we planning any special event for those weeks?
I know we have our annual breakfast during the Classified Employee Week, and as has held with tradition, we will have tokens of our appreciation for both our classified and certificated staff.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item 5, resolution of honor of School Health Services Appreciation Week and the National School Nurse Day. Dr. Jackson?
Yes, Board President Williams, the Board of Education is requested to adopt a resolution declaring May 7th through the 11th, 2018 as School Health Services Appreciation Week, and that May 9th, 2018 is recognized as National School Nurse Day, to recognize and honor the contribution of school nurses and health clerks to quality education in the state of California and the Monrovia Unified School District. And following suit, as we started a new tradition last year, we will be honoring our nurses and health clerks here within the district as well.
Comments or questions?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Huff?
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. We have board business regarding expulsions, which would be led by Mr. Brian Wong.
Expulsion case number 1718-07 for the 2017-18 school year. I move the expulsion case number 1718-07, student number 111-115-779, be held enforced of an order of expulsion for a period not more than 1 calendar year. This period commences on the 25th day of April and ends the 25th day of April 2019. The expulsion is based on the findings of fact that the student violated the following provisions of Ed Code 48900, caused, attempted, or caused, or threatened to cause physical injury to another person.
Second.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Mr. Wong, item 7.
I move the expulsion case number 1718-12, student number 111-111-813 be held to an enforcement of an order of expulsion for a period of not more than 1 calendar year. This period commences on the 25th day of April and ends on the 25th day of April 2019. The expulsion is based on the findings of fact that the student violated the following provisions of Ed Code: caused, attempted to cause, or threatened to cause physical injury to another person.
Mr. Wong, I just want to confirm the student ID number you read. 111-111-813.
Correct.
Are we on item 7 or item 8?
We're on 7.
Yeah, 3480.
So that should
Did I
be
get 'em out of order?
111-113-480.
I apologize. Let me, nobody seconded that, correct?
Yeah.
Let me amend my motion, please. I move the expulsion case of 1718-10, student number 111-113-480 be held to an enforcement of an order of expulsion for a period of not more than 1 calendar year. The period commences on this, the 25th day of April, and ends on the 25th day of April 2019. The expulsion is based on the finding of fact that the student violated the following provisions of Ed Code 48900.7, made terroristic threats against school officials and or school property.
Second.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Ms. Huff. Item 8, Mr. Wong.
I move the expulsion case 1718-12, student number 111-111-813 be held to an enforcement of an order of expulsion for a period of not more than 1 calendar year. This period commences on the 25th day of April and ends on the 25th day of April 2019. The expulsion is based on the finding of fact that the student violated the following provisions of Ed Code 48900, caused, attempted to cause, or threatened to cause physical injury to another person.
Second.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you, Ms. Huff. Item 9, Dr. Terosian, resolution ordering regular biennial governing board member election.
Thank you, President Williams. Members of the board, in accordance with Ed Code 5340, governing boards and districts are scheduled to hold elections on the date and are required to initiate the elections by adopting a resolution ordering said election. The board is requested to adopt resolution number 1718-11 to order a regular biennial governing board member election on Tuesday, November 6, 2018. There is a budget implication of $140,000, which is already included within our multi-year projection.
Questions or comments for Dr. Terosian?
Move to approve.
Second.
Ms. Huff.
Board Member Rich?
Yes.
Board Member Gilliland?
Yes.
Board Member Wong?
Yes.
Board President Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Item 11, pending board issues.
Thank you, President Williams. Members of the board, one of the topics about which we have been discussing is the funding for schools, and the California School Boards Association, as Member Gillen mentioned earlier, has been active in trying to provide additional funds. There is the state Supreme Court will be hearing a CSBA-led case on unfunded education mandates. And the CSBA, the California School Boards Association, is challenging statutes
statutes, which instructs schools to use existing funding sources to pay for programs and services that would require additional financial outlay. This would include special education services, for example. So the fact that the state's highest court will consider this claim validates its significance, and we are hoping for a favorable resolution.
Questions or comment for Dr. DeRosian?
Just one thing to add, if the board would agree, on the last page where we talk about legislative policy or advocacy, when we talk about going to Washington or going to Sacramento, dealing with our representatives, we have special education funding under there, and I have a proposal. We won't discuss it tonight, obviously, but I'd like for us to discuss it in the future when we talk about California funding. I'm just going to use approximated numbers. We'll get more detailed numbers before we talk to someone, which we decide to go that direction. But California allows about $9,200 per ADA. At the local level, we get about $5,100, somewhere around there, right, Ms. Wu? So there's a huge missing chunk of about $4,000 per ADA. One of the proposals I want to make to Assemblymember Holden or Senator Portantino is the lack of need for an Office of Education in every county. There are population differences in counties, and we could eliminate some county offices of education and go with the regional offices of education. And how many hundreds of millions of dollars would that free up in this state to come down to the local level? But we have to see if the legislature, someone in the legislature will move forward with it. We'll have a discussion if we want to pursue that. If they don't want to move forward with it, maybe we move forward with getting signatures to put it as a ballot measure, to direct those funds that would go, if we can get rid of some county offices of education, that funding that would go there would filter down to the local level instead and not be sucked up by the state somewhere else. So I would just like to add a proposal of getting some of that 9,200 back. If we had just another 1,000 per ADA, it's $5 million, $6 million here.
Right.
So in the future, if we can just add that under advocacy and we can discuss it, hit somebody over the head.
Well received. So noted.
You know, there's one other thing under legislative policy. Based on the discussion here tonight, I think it would behoove us to have a talking points or a fact sheet that parents could use when they're talking to their legislator about school funding. Yeah, we've had that in the past. We have had it, and we haven't for a while, but it would be good to have that available for them and for us.
Excellent. Anyone else, any additional comments regarding Dr. Terosian's pending board issues? Excellent insight, Chris.
Yeah, good thought.
Moving forward to item J, old business, you can see the regular Board of Education meeting will be on May 9th and the 23rd. In the middle, we have the joint board, PC and Board of Education meeting on the 17th. Item K, the new businesses, as outlined, the Santa Fe Spring Concert, which was articulated earlier. The Citrus College Promise Lunch and Signing Ceremony on the 27th at 8 a.m. The AXA Spring Awards Banquet, April 30th. Superstars of Music Showcase, May the 10th. The SELPA Prom at Monrovia High School, May the 11th at 11 a.m. And of course, the Monrovia Days and Festival, May 18th through 20th at Library Park. Also, the open house is before you. It entertains Bright Oak and Santa Fe. Bright Oak's on the 8th at 6 p.m., Santa Fe on the 24th at 6 p.m. Before we adjourn, I'd like to close in memory of two individuals. One in the likes of Mr. Julius Parker. And thanks to Ms. Huff, I want to share some details regarding this historical individual. Mr. Parker is considered an icon in Monrovia because of his family ties. In 1943, Mr. Parker was a senior attending Monrovia Katie Doherty High School, and in World War II was in full swing. Rather than complete, Mr. Parker enlisted in the Army to serve his nation, and in so doing, sacrificed many teenage rites of passage. Perhaps the most important of these was graduation from high school on the June 7, 2016. At 74 years later, that is, the Monrovia Unified School District Board of Education was pleased to honor Mr. Parker with a high school diploma at his home. And as you can see by the picture, he was a very tall man, very quiet. His comments to us was he was thankful to receive his high school diploma after all these years, and then was unable to join us in the commencement exercises. Then he mentioned, these days I don't go out that often, and at that time, folks, he was 91 years old. The 91-year-old graduate received his diploma at his home, as I articulated. All that were on the diocese were there, and it was one of the most exciting moments of my life to see such a situation happen like that, where an old timer like this gentleman here will receive that. Mr. Parker passed, and his funeral will be on this Saturday at Methodist Church at 11 a.m. I plan on being there along with others to celebrate his life. The last one is a personal matter. I'm sure some of you know this gentleman in the likes of Mr. John Green. Thanks to Dr. Jackson, I had the privilege to work in the booth with Mr. Green. And Mr. Green served, Dr. Jackson, correct me, 10, 15 years possibly. And he was very a giving person. Didn't always say that he gave, but he gave a lot to the school in the likes of equipment and all kinds of things. And he also helped Larry Golar and myself become better announcers. But John will be celebrated on the same time Saturday at 11 o'clock. I didn't know, but Mr. Green did pass in February. Because he moved out of town to Utah, it was hard to communicate with him with regards to his health. His son Patrick was one of our outstanding kickers on our football team. He also went to Utah, and he played college football there too. But Mr. Green will truly be missed. Sincerely, I actually love Mr. Green, and may God bless his soul. I'd like to join the regular Board of Education open session meeting at 9:25.